chopstick. Wala ka sa chopstick din.
Try some of that cheese if you want it, and there's more, a little bit of sauce left if you want more sauce.
It's a lot of it. Very nice.
You're not supposed to mix it up like that. You're supposed to leave it on the top and twirl the macaroni.
Ooh. Tasty.
I don't believe her.
As an alternative to the shotgun setups and the pure joy of spreading the green pestilence wherever I
Try
go.
some of that, huh?
It's
Makes it
also
good.
hilariously effective in tight
Tasty,
environments.
Mike. If you don't believe me, it's up to you. But
Finally, I have something for all you
I love it.
maniacs out there. Engineer as secondary
I love it.
If you like this, then you really love my sauce. Because it's better than this.
The flame
And there's going to be meat with it too.
devastating place and forget skill while you leave everything with your shotgun and the button mods. I included some one true king footage there where he has the elemental resistance effect.
Tastes bitter.
It still takes a lot of
Bitter?
damage. Again, my
I mean, tastes bitter with the
With the cheese?
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's the only reason we eat pasta. It's for the cheese.
Sparkfire shotgun.
Wow.
Fire and
I didn't know you can cook.
And believe me, Witchfire is
This isn't cooking, this is
strong.
cheating.
Has two charges and
When you see how much effort I put into Christmas dinner, you're going to say, yeah, he can cook.
As my handgun with the harmonizer mutator as weapon mod, I either use hotshot for some
Lamian ka. Imo na mahurot.
or the infamous firestorm, especially useful against certain
Busog na
bosses.
ako pa.
But please, don't use it when playing with others. In co-op, it is just a huge pain in the backside. I chose World's Edge here, but use whatever you want. Melee combat is not very useful in this setup, opposed to the other two builds. Strength of Heart as usual. This time I recommend 10% elemental damage and 10% mod damage.
My father used to, if he didn't feel like making sauce, he would take a jar of ragu like I did, and then he would add spices to it and make it better.
Targeting jewel to improve your shotgun's range from 12 to 16 meter. Then 2 ring slots for cooldown reduction.
But we don't have that. We don't have any spices. I've got to buy spices so I can cook it.
With this, miasma becomes available every 22 seconds.
Like putting
and
chili?
your turret profits greatly from the overall 50% cooldown reduction.
Oregano, parsley,
While blocking
basil.
ring slots to reduce
Kaya ba rin
cooldowns,
ano?
the benefits in this build are more than worth it. You can nearly spam your turret and miasma. Traits
Ground
are again
pepper
vigor,
goes in there, salt
expertise,
goes in
spirit,
there, a little bit of sugar.
triage, and fitness
Put some of that
as
cheese in
baseline.
there.
Handling to make the Sparkfire shotgun useful at the improved range, and Flash Caster again to counter miasma's long cast
Should
time.
put some
The
water in
turret
that
placement
sauce.
also benefits greatly from this strat. The rest I put into ammo reserves and
What do you think, Gwen?
points in
It's
storm
good.
battle.
It's good?
Well,
Yep.
the new Crimson Guard heavy armor set while keeping the bad.
Starting out at number 10, we have the Corrupted Tube Gun. This is not only the worst corrupted weapon, but also the worst weapon in the entire game. It's got no place on any build and does not provide anything to combat the attackers whatsoever. So this gun fires large cubes as bullets. And what's cool is that it has infinite ammo, letting you have a reliable option in longer fights. However, it also overheats, and it does so faster than any of the other overheat weapons that we have. Basically, in the first 3 seconds of firing it, it's going to overheat, requiring a very long reload animation that stops all of your action. You can get around this by wearing the microcompressor ring or using the Ingenuity mutator on it, making it overheat hardly at all. But then you deal almost no damage with it. On top of that, the projectiles don't seem to be working correctly at the moment, and at least half of them deal 0 damage. It seems to be when 2 cubes hit the same target at the same time. Obviously, it's a major issue that hurts it quite a bit. Then there's the mod. You're going to conjure a large cube around yourself that is affected by amplitude, and it greatly reduces heat generation and generates missing reserve ammo, which is kind of cool. It lasts a good amount of time, but is completely worthless. All of the overheat weapons you could use this with, that being only 2 of them, don't have any overheat issues. On the bone saw, you simply throw on the microcompressor ring, and for the plasma cutter, its own mod fixes the overheat. So you're only using this mod to help the corrupted cube gun, and since it already has infinite ammo, it doesn't even benefit from half of its own buff. This is a terrible item, and by far the worst to ever be added into the game, mainly because the benefit that it brings to the table is not usable or wanted by anyone playing Remnant 2. And the cube gun is far better in every regard, being able to block all projectiles with the mod. Worst weapon in the game in an easy F tier. fact, I'd put it even lower if we had a lower tier. The corrupted Aphelion is really not all that different from a regular Aphelion. Instead of shooting out one massive line, it shoots out 3 smaller ones, and the mod shoots 5 orbs instead of 1. The item is definitely better than its brother version, being a bit more fun to use and having far better mod regen. You really don't want to be using this for range damage because it doesn't have much ammo and is just worse than most of the other range options we have. Instead, you're going to use it for a mod build, throwing out activators and completely regen its own mod every single time you shoot out the orbs. Make sure to hit the orbs with the gun projectile and they deal even more damage. Infinite mod energy with high explosion damage. And overall, it's just bad. Mainly because every other explosive option we have, which keep in mind there are many, they're all way better and easier to use for that matter. This requires that you shoot the orbs after sending them out, and with this low magazine, you need to reload way too often. It does have the benefit of pushing back or moving enemies and some bosses on impact, but still not all that useful. And it even reduced this gun's overall stats compared to the original for no reason, really. Not bad by any means, but when compared, it's basically worthless. D tier. Corrupted Merciless is actually a very powerful gun. You get some massive weak spot damage out of this, and it can shoot quickly as well. The main fire mode on this shoots 3 times like a sniper. Kinda sucks that way, but the mod sort of modifies it to make it way better. Once activated, the mod has a 13-second duration. During this time, the weapon has unlimited reserve ammo, better reload speed, and the shots of flight bleed. And if you hit all 3 shots in a row on weak spots, it will automatically reload itself, meaning you fire infinitely for really large damage. Well, here's the problem. This forces you into one single build for the gun where you wear the abrasive whetstone necklace and crit on weak spot readings. Plus, it now only works against bosses with easy to hit weak spots. So Ravager and Annihilation seem pretty good, but even then, if you miss one single shot, it ruins the entire point of the gun and you still have to reload. Amazing when it works, but missing a single weak spot is far too easy, and even still, you get more range damage from many other options. Also, the regular Merciless is an incredible gun that's both easy to use and a great bleed applicator. Unless you really want to try out the free reload, it's not worth getting most of the time. I think Battery as mutator is really good in this, since that's really all I use it with, but Bullet Weaver could be nice too. D tier. Corrupted Nebula is a complete monster. You can deal so much damage in a short amount of time that it trashes bosses way faster than it should. But it really is not that great in the long run. So this gun gets 15 bullets, they each need shot out individually. No more automatic fire like the original gun. Pretty low range damage all things considered, and hitting the target over and over gets old quick. The big benefit here is the mod. If you hit weak spots or get kills, a nanobot is going to be created. This nanobot attacks the enemy for a while. Then, you use the mod to explode any of the bosses you've created with a very large detonation. With the feedback mutator equipped, it can be activated 3 to 4 times in quick succession, exploding for thousands of damage each time, making it the most powerful corrupted weapon we have in theory. But here we run into 2 large issues. This one, it only works on weak spots, which takes out a very large portion of the bosses, and even some of the ones that have weak spots hide it often. Number 2, it requires a decent chunk of time to hit the explosion 3 total times. I tried this against the Ravager, and even with his massive weak spot, I can only detonate that thing 1 time because he's so aggressive. And by the time he dies, the nanos are gone, and you need to reshoot and detonate all over again. It's a very strong boss deletion gun, but for it only working on elites, aberrations, and bosses, it requires some effort to use. And in the end, I prefer the original Nebula as it's one of the best sidearms in the game with a very strong and always reliable mod. C tier. Corrupted Arbalist is one of my favorite additions to the game. Now, the regular Arbalist got its tracking improved when this gun dropped, making both way better than they could have been before. And while both are great for explosion builds, they have several differences that mean quite a bit. This version gets 8 total bullets per magazine, while the original only got 1. And if we use the Bandit mutator, you hardly ever have to reload it at all. The regular fire is not all that amazing, although since it bounces between targets several times, you can get really quick mod regen from it. The mod here is the highlight, as once activated, all of your shots explode. This lasts 15 seconds and also grants faster fire rate with less recoil and sway. With some crit and mod damage on your build, it will deal really solid damage. We do already have really good explosive options in Remnant 2, so why would you choose this over something else? Well, actually, its ease of use is really high. It can be shot at bosses and bounce all the way to other enemies in the fight, letting you clear out extra mechanics in the arena without stopping the damage on your main target. It can be invaluable in dungeons, bouncing around corners and exploding things you didn't even know were there.